This is Kathy Beal of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of April 20th, 2020. Welcome to another fun-filled week of self-discovery and exploration. Yeah. How you doing? The sensation of time has slowed for a lot of us, and we're living very much more in the moment. And there's something about the things that are swirling and stirring that is throwing us face first into ourselves, into our situations, conditions, patterning, our own internal governance. One friend of mine put it beautifully by saying that he has hit the bedrock of his personal programming that explains everything in his existence. We all have the opportunity to do that this week. The week begins with a demand to grow up, to put our big boy and big girl panties on and just deal with things, to push ourselves in ways that probably are not entirely comfortable, to bring new structure into how we view ourselves, how we define our lives, and in what we're doing. That comes from the Sun squaring Saturn on the 21st. Saturn being the lord of structure, rules, responsibility, accountability, also adulting, newly in the community-oriented and progressive futuristic energy of Aquarius. Now, Saturn is moving into a demand for action or a square with Uranus, the modern ruler of Aquarius, who's hanging out in Taurus, and the Sun is moving toward a conjunction with him. Very complicated way of saying we are getting a foretaste of a demand to change that will become exact next year. For now, this uncomfortableness, this, something's got to give, permeates the Taurus New Moon, which is on the 22nd. Taurus is all about sinking into sensory experience. There's a great meme going around about how the signs are coping with quarantine, and the one for Taurus has Homer Simpson lying on a couch with his chest covered with food for easy access. So he's just in snacking mode. The square to Saturn and the conjunction to Uranus means that even if we're lying on the couch in snacking mode, there is something constantly making us uncomfortable, constantly destabilizing things, constantly shaking, shocking us into doing things differently. The upside of this is this new moon is a superb time for making up new rules, for making up new patterns, for breaking out of stuck places and doing things wildly differently. If the outer ground rules have collapsed, there's no point in living by them anymore. You get to make up your own comforting, nurturing, satisfying rules. And a streak in this is enjoying your own physicality. So when you reach for your equivalent of a jelly donut and lightning zaps your hand, there's a reason for it. Stop and look. What can you do differently? Now, with all of this, intensity is still a fundamental part of the picture because Mercury, which rules what goes through our mind and comes out of our mouths and through our fingertips on devices, the communication god, is slamming into Pluto, lord of the underworld, the guy who is insisting on regeneration and bringing all the decay and ickiness up to the surface. And Mercury is also slamming against more Jupiter. So there's something cartoonishly large coming up, forcing us to at least think about things that have been swirling around deep within us, possibly confront, possibly have candid conversations with ourselves, possibly have painfully candid conversations with other people. We can actually transform our thoughts with this, and there is a push to do things in a healthier, better way with that Jupiterian touch. Now, there's always indulgence, and some people are going to use this to descend even more in a pity party. This could be a week of bottoming out and things having to go up as a consequence. As this is occurring, Pluto is stationing retrograde. He goes retrograde every year. It is for about half of the year. He will be retrograde until the beginning of October. It is a much subtler influence than, say, the retrograde that everybody knows about now, thanks to the internet, which is Mercury Retrograde. This just means there's going to be a sense of time stopping even more and going deeper, going deeper, going deeper, and stuff swirling and swirling and swirling. And then with this square to Mercury, there being a force pushing a lot of stuff to the surface or requiring stuff to come out. So things that you've been clamping down on are very likely going to erupt, at least in your mind, possibly in your social media feed, possibly in your conversations with other people. The upshot of all of it, where it is sending us, is the final big aspect at the end of the week, and that is on the 26th when the sun meets with Uranus. So our physical existence, our physical expression and experience of our personalities hits electricity, hits lightning, hits the gigantic key that undoes a lock, or the lightning strike that hits the lock. Personal liberation, personal awakening. So the possible trajectory of all of this is circumstances really bearing down on us at the beginning of the week to just grow up already and deal with things and take responsibility for your own side of the block, your own house, your own order, and a lot of stuff swirling up, information coming at us through our thoughts, through our conversations, through the weird feelings that bubble up in our bodies that we all generally try to push down, but this time they won't stay down. And by the end of the week, blam, something breaks open. Could be a huge sigh of relief, personally, for each of us coming out of this. Keep your focus on yourself. Keep your focus on your own growth, your own security, your own stability, your own sanity. Leave everybody else to their own processes. Out in the mundane world, there will be a lot of people really chafing at lockdown orders, chafing at social distancing restrictions, and don't be, with that Plutonian element, don't be entirely certain that any action that comes out of it is completely an individual's decision. There very well could be big, moneyed influences fueling the desire to break out no matter what. And I'm saying that from the astrology. Be safe, be well. Homing thought of the week. I get to make it up as I go along. Song of the week. I have two. The first is If You're Going Through Hell by Rodney Atkins. And I thank Denise D. for alerting me to this song in the Astro-Insight Lounge. And the second one is Voyage to the Center of Your Mind by the Amboy Dukes. The image of the week is spelunking. You can learn more about this in my forecast for the Taurus New Moon, which is already up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can also get some tools to work with these energies and speed up what is going on, specifically my working with Pluto and working with Saturn guided visualizations. And of course, you can also sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me there. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Beal, and I will say that this month's Ask Me Almost Anything is filled with really meaty topics, some of which are tied to developments in the news right now. You'll find me on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited in the group The Astro-Insight Lounge. I'm on Instagram at KA Beal and on YouTube at The Professional Aquarian Channel.